The sport tonight, the NBL Round 11, the zero-fee Sharks fought back against the Jets from 16 down with 4 minutes to run to secure their place in the top 4. The Sharks went on to defeat the Pistons later in the round, and the formerly high-flying Nuggets suffered their third loss in a row, losing heavily to the Saints from Wellington. We were at practice with the Sharks ahead of round 12.
What have you seen here this year? How different is this side from perhaps previous Shark sides?
I think with Paul getting involved, he's brought that mentality that he had as a player at the Breakers, and obviously with his involvement in the national team. And what you're seeing in training and also through in the games is that desire to win, and he's challenging everybody all the time. So when you get on the court in a training or in a game, you need to be ready. And if you're not, you need to have a good reason why you're not. And I think what it's done, it's made the players more responsible for how they play, and we're seeing the results on the court.
A lot of that comes down to the player selection, doesn't it? I mean, obviously when the team was selecting players like Conklin and, of course, Kevin Braswell back again, it's important that makeup, isn't it? Kevin Braswell looks like he's also coaching the side.
Phenomenal. When you look at the experience of the likes of Kevin and probably the likes of Luke and Leon within the Australian and New Zealand leagues over the years, they bring that experience, and the fact that they've been on winning teams both in New Zealand and abroad. And then you've got the younger guys who they've brought on board, and the likes of Rubes and Morgan. And then you've got the local lads who've been here from the start who are learning from that. And it seems that mixture of old and new with the guys that have won, they're kind of teaching these boys how to win games. And this year the chemistry was fantastic, and it's working.
So it's like creating legacy within the side.
Totally. The fact that Paul's signed up for a couple more years, and Kevin's going to be back here next year, and the fact that Brian's now got a contract with Townsville. You're looking at some young guys there. Like with Brian, this is his first season out of college, and he's going to go and do great things. Hopefully he'll come back next year, and with that, and you build with the local guys that we've got here. We're hoping it could be a long-term thing.
A great weekend previous, a real cliffhanger though. That first game.
Oh, very much so. Down by 16 points with 4.5 minutes to go is not the type of area you want to be in. But
to recover.
I think, yeah, and you know what, we had a timeout, and a lot of the situation plays that we do in training, basically the boys got together and Paul's like, hey, we do this in training. We obviously not 16 down, but we play that, and we didn't feel like we were going to lose. And it's a rare thing when that sort of thing happens. So they pulled it back and got the result, which was amazing.
And the Pistons, of course, we were all hoping that would be the win game out of all the ones away that would get you guys through to the playoffs. But was that tougher than you thought? I
think so. The Pistons have got better as the season's gone on. They've learned, and they've improved. They've got one or two good players. Ty Webster, who's off to Nebraska, is a great future player for New Zealand, and it was a 5-hour drive to get there, so the legs were a bit sore. We had one of the boys was sick, so we only ended up playing with 8. So yeah, it was a tough game, but that last quarter, once again, the boys put the foot to the pedal and came away with a really good result.
There have been many great games, obviously, this season, but one that's outstanding for me and of course, and many other fans I've spoken to was that Otago match down here. How did you feel watching that game?
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I think everything we've done over the season came together. Otago are a top-class team, and to tell you the truth, they didn't play that badly. As much as the stats show that we won by 47, the reason that happened was because they couldn't score. The intensity of our boys, everything we'd done through the season, and with the crowd behind us, basically they couldn't get the ball in the basket, and that was due to how good we were as a team.
Was there a moment for you as a coach, assistant coach, sitting there going, well, this is all coming together? Suddenly it's all come together.
At one point I turned to a couple of guys, and we were 54 points up, and I kind of had to count it twice. I was like, we were up by 54 against the top team, and it was phenomenal. And then when Leon hit the halfway shot, that was it. It was like this is a great result, and there was no turning back from there. So it's just a pity we haven't got another home game, because it would be another sellout.
There's a few guys that have been struggling with a little bit of sickness, coming off a tough road trip, but we spoke about it after training, and it's not really at the level we want it to be at this stage of the year. So tomorrow night we want to come in and have a really intense, hard training. It's got to be intense at this stage of the year, because it's a really important part of the preparation, getting ready to play intense, tough opposition.
Well, the trip away, very successful, but a bit of a nail-biter for us sitting back at home following on stats.
Yeah, if only the game was streamed live or on TV, it wouldn't have been, well, it probably would have been just as stressful, but it was a good character win. You know, being able to get out of a tough situation like that against a team fighting to stay alive for their playoff hopes. It was a good effort, so yeah, really happy to come away with that one.
16 down, what are you thinking as a coach? Let's get them back.
Throw the kitchen sink and see what happens. Well, I just felt that Palmy was starting to rush it a little bit. Maybe they were trying to get the split on us and try and beat us by 30. So they were starting to make a few rush decisions. So I just called a timeout and I said to the boys, I said, if you can put them under a bit of pressure, force them into mistakes, stay aggressive at the other end. And we were fortunate enough, you need a little bit of luck in those situations, but we started to convert. We converted our free throws and knocked down a couple of shots, and it just sort of built pressure on them. And by the time they'd sort of realised what happened, the momentum had swung. I could tell, and you could see it in the guys' eyes. They were hungry and they were going after the win. And but to be able to pull it off is pretty special.
Mark was just talking about that game against the Nuggets. We didn't get a chance to catch up with you after that match. He says it's pretty much almost a complete game. Everything was coming together. And the Nuggets have been beaten 3 in a row now, and by a large margin in the weekend.
Yeah, obviously we can only control what we do, but yeah, that was a good game against the Nuggets, a complete game in front of a great crowd. But you can only gloss and reflect and celebrate so much after a win. Obviously it's a long time ago now. We're just focused on the future, focused on Wellington and Nelson this weekend. It's going to be a tough weekend, and then obviously the Final Four.
There's no throttling off though, as these 2 games. You may be safe in the playoffs, but I can't imagine you throttling back.
Not at all. We spoke about it as a group, and I think it's important. Personally, I think it's important to keep the edge, keep the motivation, keep everything, looking forward and challenging yourself, challenging opposition, and trying to win and compete. So that's what we want to do this weekend. We're just fortunate that we're in a position where the results don't actually mean a whole lot. It's just about going about the process, playing the way we want to play, and keeping some form going into Final Four.
Just a quick word, the record 7 games in a row for the franchise. This is the biggest in its short history, but quite an achievement.
Yeah, we've managed to
at the right end of the season.
Yeah, we've managed to check off a few records this year, and 7 in a row is a good one to have. But we wanted to make it 9 in a row this weekend. We wanted to finish off with a 2. As long as we finish the season with a 2-win streak, I'll be happy. That's when we want to win games. What we've done now is build some momentum, some confidence to put us in a position where now we can legitimately contend for a title. One out of 4 teams can. You just got to win 2 games and you win a championship, and that's a good place to be. Just
a quick word before you go about Adams and his signing to the NBA. Were you surprised and excited by that?
Not surprised, very excited. We were in Palmerston North. Actually, we're heading to our pre-game meal. And all the boys, we were sort of watching the live updates and on the phones, and when the 12 came up and his name came up, 2 van loads cheered. We're stoked for him. It's good, great for basketball. It's great for Stephen, obviously, and his family. It's just an exciting time. So he's got a bright future ahead.
I had a very, very busy weekend, but a very successful one.
Yeah, definitely. Good to come away with 2 wins, but they were both shaky, and we need to tidy a few things up to beat Wellington and Nelson.
Yeah, Wellington and Nelson, big games, aren't they? How do you feel about those games? And they're not must-wins, but you will want to win them.
Yeah, just get some momentum over this weekend for next week's playoffs, and yeah, definitely good to come away with a couple wins going into the playoffs.
I've already talked to the coaches tonight, but let's hear a player's perspective. How do you feel things are going within the side? Everything looks pretty good.
Tonight's training was a bit flat, but hopefully we can pick it up tomorrow and go into the Wellington game firing.
And you've got a hint of the flu, but they won't stop you?
Yeah, a bit of the flu going around the camp, but everyone should be good, and yeah, BC's feeling pretty sick as well.
So there we see the Sharks sitting pretty at number 2 on the table, with games against the Giants and the Saints yet to come before the playoffs in Napier the following week.